Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. And today, yes, we're going to see the next interview question. And previously, we in fact we saw how to handle um, uh, the token expiry. And in this video, we're going to see about the very commonly asked question. And we're going to tackle one of the very trickiest question in API related performance testing using JMeter. So this will something that separates the or this will show the difference between a junior performance tester from a senior performance test engineer. So the interview or the question or the scenario is the interviewer can give you a JSON response and he will ask you to uh, explain it like you have a JSON response containing a list of products and you need to find the product ID of an item where the product name is, take for example, let's say iPhone 15. But the catch is the position of this item in the array changes dynamically for every user. So how do you extract the correct ID? How will you approach this? So now pause for a second. The question is very brilliant because it's testing whether you truly understand the JSON extraction or if you have just been copy pasting the JSON path expressions without really knowing what they do. So the challenge here is dynamic positioning. The iPhone is not always in the same spot in the array. So for user A, it might be the first item. For user B, it might be the fifth item. For user C, it might be the 20th position, right? So how do we solve this? So let's dive in. Moving on to the second slide. So understanding why the standard extraction fails. So let me show you why the standard approach completely fails here. Because most testers, when they see a JSON array, they immediately think, okay, I'll just use positional extraction. So they write something like um, the code that you see here, the result bracket, zero bracket dot ID, or maybe result bracket one dot ID. But here is the problem. That only works if the item is always at that exact position, right? So result of 0.id or result of 1.id, right? But in this example, the iPhone 15 is at position 1, the second item in the array. So you might think, great, I'll use the product bracket, bracket 1 bracket dot product ID. And yes, that would work for this specific response. But what happens when the API returns a different order for a different user? What if for user B, Samsung is first, Google Pixel goes second, and iPhone is third? Your script would extract the wrong product ID this time, right? So you would get Google Pixel's ID instead of iPhone's ID, and your entire test would be based on incorrect data. So this is again a massive issue in real world testing, especially with e-commerce platforms. So search results are any API that returns dynamic, sorted or personalized data. So here is the key insight. You need conditional extraction, not positional instructions. That's the difference here. So all you're going to tell your interviewer is you don't need conditional extraction, but rather conditional extraction, not the positional extraction. So you need to tell JMeter, hey, find me the item where the product name is iPhone 15 and then extract its product ID. So I don't care what position it is in. So how are you going to do it? So let's move on to the slide 3. So what's the wrong approach or what's the approach that people normally try when they want to do this dynamic extraction is uh, because this is a visual comparison, I'm just explaining it to you. So on the left, we have the wrong approach or the incorrect approach, I would say, the positional extraction. The syntax is $ dot products and then bracket one bracket dot product ID. So this says, give me the product ID of the item at position 1. Simple, right? But completely unreliable in dynamic scenario, as I've explained to you earlier. So now look at the right side, which is the correct approach. The syntax is $ dot dot product question mark and open parenthesis at sign dot product underscore name equals single quote within which I'm giving the iPhone 15, again a single quote to close it, and again a closing parenthesis bracket dot product ID, right? So this is how I give the regular expression to extract the value, right? Where I search the entire array and finds the item by name, not the position, right? So I know it looks complex, but trust me, once you understand what each part does, you will use this pattern everywhere. Yes, I would say everywhere. So this is called the JSON path filter expression, and think of it like a SQL var class, but it's for JSON, right? So you're saying search through the entire JSON structure, find any object where the product name field equals iPhone 15, and then extract the product ID from that specific object, right? So the beauty of this approach is it doesn't matter if the iPhone is at position 0 or position 5 or position 50. The filter will find it wherever it is and extract the correct ID. And in fact, I'm explaining you here is for your interview question. In fact, I will create a separate video on how to do this in real time. But for those who are going for an interview, I don't want you to go into the tool and explain it everything. So just understand this is how it works, and the difference between the script that works in your test environment and the script that works in the production with real dynamic data, right? And moving on to the fourth slide where I'm going to give you the complete solution. So let me break down the complete implementation step by step, because in an interview you need to explain not just what to do but how to do it. So use first step is using the JSON extractor. So in JMeter, you need to add a JSON extractor post processor to your HTTP request sampler, and this is your tool for extracting the values from JSON responses. And then the step two, where you're going to apply the JSON path filter. Yes, so instead of using a simple path like $sign or dot product zero broad bracket ID, you're going to use a filter expression, and here is the syntax again. So I've explained you dollar dot dot then product name equals iPhone 15, and then again with the product ID. So what is explained here is uh, the at sign. Okay, at sign dot product underscore name equals single quote iPhone 15 single quote. This is your matching criteria. So the at sign here at the beginning refers to the current object being evaluated. So you are evaluating the current object, right? So you are saying look at each object and check if its product name field equals iPhone 15. So as I'm telling, this is not positional, this is a conditional expression, right? So again, I'm using a close parenthesis bracket dot product ID at the end. So once you find the matching object, is extract the specific product ID field from it, right? And then the step three, finally, where you will understand how it works. So let me break down each component. So the $sign dot dot, which will do the recursive descent for you, right? So it searches through the entry level of your JSON, not just the immediate children. And then the bracket question mark, where which is the filter operator, and it says apply a condition in here. And then the at symbol, that sign represents the current item in the iteration, and think of it like this in the JavaScript or self in Python. And then the equals in is your comparison. Equals is your comparison operator. So you are checking for equality, and in this case iPhone, which is the matching criteria. And then the final product ID, which is the extraction target, the sibling value that you actually want. So this pattern is incredibly powerful because it works regardless of array position, the size, or any nesting depth. So whether you have 5 products or 5,000 products, this filter will find the right one. So please again make a note of this particular line. So this will demo you as an example. In several interviews, yes, people are asking how will you handle dynamic extraction. Yes, this is an example. So rather than positional, you're going to do the conditional extraction, right? So just use those keywords. So finally, the last slide, the key takeaway. Let me leave you with the key takeaway that you absolutely must remember for interview and for your real world testing. So when the JSON structure is dynamic, always use conditional extraction, not positional extraction. So positional extraction makes your script brittle and unreliable. Always use conditional extraction, which will make your script robust and production ready. So remember this syntax pattern. It's a Swiss Army knife for JSON extraction. So $sign dot dot bracket question mark open parenthesis at sign dot field equals single quote value single quote close parenthesis bracket dot target field. So this pattern works for any sibling value extraction scenario. So you can use it to find products by name, users by email, orders by status, transactions by ID, literally anything where you need to search for one field and extract another. So in interview, if you can explain this clearly and show that you understand why conditional extraction is necessary and how the filter syntax works, so you're demonstrating the senior level thinking. You're not just a button clicker who follows the tutorials. You are someone who understands the underlying principle of JSON processing and can solve complex real world problems. And that's it for today. If this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next video where we tackle even more advanced interview questions. So happy testing. Take care and bye bye.